that is AC to DC power converters, and this unit contains the following topics: concept of line and forced commutation, single phase semi and full converters for R and RL loads, performance parameters, effect of freewheeling diode, that is FWD, then three phase semi and full converters for R load, effect of source inductance, power factor, that is PF improvement techniques, diode based boost converter, and single phase dual converter with inductive load. So if you carefully see that this particular unit consists of some basic concepts, and it contains remaining two sections, one section for single phase and the next section is for three phase. So as far as concepts are concerned, the first topic in this unit, that is concept of line and force commutations, performance parameters, effect of FWD, and effect of source inductance. These are like the basic concepts for converters. And if we see that there is a symmetry between the single phase and three phase topics, in single phase we have semi and full converters for R and RL load. Similarly, in the three phase section we have semi and full converters. The only difference is in three phase converters we have to study only R load and not RL load. Okay, so I plan to complete unit number 2 at least to an extent of 60 or 70% by the end of this week, because I am getting one extra lecture, that is on Thursday 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. So I'll spend the next 10 minutes for the basic or common terms which we are going to use while discussing both single phase and three phase converters. Then we'll start with classification of converters, and then we'll start with line and force commutation, and our session we plan to end by discussing about what is the effect of adding inductance in a converter circuit. Unit number 2, AC to DC power converters. Okay. So AC to DC power converters, in one line would be a system which will accept a single phase or three phase supply as an input, and it will generate a DC at the output. Okay. This is the load, and here we'll be having a DC voltage and current at the output. Okay, DC voltage comma current at the output, and that is why AC to DC power converters block diagrammatically, they are represented as a black box with this particular symbol. That is, at the input side, we have an AC signal which can be either single phase or three phase, and the output, it is a straight line or it is a DC. Now at the input side, we need to have a pure AC signal, either single phase or three phase. At the output, there can be two possibilities: either it is any waveform which has a non-zero average content, or it can also be pure DC. So at the input, the compulsion is that it is a pure AC single phase or three phase. At the output, it can either be a pulsating DC or it can be a pure DC. Okay, here. So we can say input has to be a pure AC sine, and at the output it can be any waveform which has a non-zero average content, or if we filter it, we can have a pure DC. Okay. Now a system which converts a single phase or three phase pure AC signal into a signal which has a non-zero average content or a pure DC can be of two types, and we have discussed this before also. So this can be of two types. If the black box contains diodes, it is called as uncontrolled rectifier. It can be single phase or three phase sine, and at the output we have load and we show it as plus minus. So because output is a waveform having non-zero average content, that is why we always show a polarity at the output. And all these systems are 50 Hertz systems. That is why the time scale is referenced not to time t but to omega t. Okay. So again here it is diode based. It is called as an uncontrolled rectifier. So systems which convert a single phase or three phase pure AC signal into a non-zero average content or pure DC, and if these systems contain only diodes, then they are called as uncontrolled rectifiers. So they also are represented like this, but the highlight is that diodes are shown inside. They are called as uncontrolled rectifiers. Also abbreviated as UCR. On the other hand, if an AC to DC system again takes a single phase or three phase sinusoidal AC as an input, it generates a non-zero average content or pure DC at output. But if this system contains one or more SCRs, it is called as a controlled rectifier or a converter. Here it is an SCR, here it is a diode. These systems are called as controlled rectifiers or simply converters. Or CRs, or they are also called as converters. So converters means controlled rectifiers, and those which are not, they are called as uncontrolled rectifiers or UCRs. Okay, so in this chapter we are not going to discuss about UCRs, but we are going to discuss about controlled rectifiers or converters, that is AC to DC power converters, which are SCR based and not purely diode based. So it is very much possible that in converters we may not have all the devices as SCRs, but there will at least be one SCR in the system. That is a combination of SCRs and diodes. Okay. So as I told you that important thing to note that in these systems the load voltage is referenced to a time scale which is omega t and not simply t. That is why the second important concept which comes in our mind is that which are the common terms which we are going to use in all the circuits we are going to discuss. So understand the basic terms in converter systems. Some of you may feel that it is a revision, but I feel that for some students this revision is essential because we tend to forget the basics. Okay, so the first term which comes in converter systems is called as mains. So mains, it indicates either a single phase AC input, or it can also mean a three-phase AC input. Okay, and when we say three-phase AC input, it means R, Y and B phase, and when I say AC input, it can mean one of the three phases. When I can say any one of R, Y and B. Okay, mains is also known as many times line. Okay, so mains and line, they mean single phase AC input which can be any one of the three inputs R, Y and B. It can also mean a three phase AC input, that is the phases R, Y and B. Second thing, you understand that voltage values associated peak, RMS and peak to peak. So peak value is represented as VM, RMS as VRMS and peak to peak as V peak to peak. Understand that V peak to peak is equal to 2 times VM and VRMS is always equal to VM by root 2. So this applies to both single phase and three phase system. Second important thing is that in a single phase system there is only phase voltage. So single phase system has only phase voltage V phase, and understand this thing that this phase voltage is also expressed in RMS value. Third important thing is in a three phase system we have phase voltage as well as line voltage. So this is V phase and this is V line. Understand that irrespective of whichever phase it is, V line is always equal to root 3 multiplied by V phase. In a three-phase system, we have three phase voltages: R phase with respect to neutral, Y phase with respect to neutral, and B phase with respect to neutral, while line voltages are that between R and Y, Y and B, and VBR. Okay, and understand that the three phase voltages are referenced like this. So if omega t equal to 0 degrees for R phase, then Y phase will lag it by 120 degrees and B phase will lag it by 240 degrees. Okay, another important thing is that there is a frequency associated, frequency of mains. It can either be 50 hertz or it can be 60 hertz, and this is called as F, the supply. Frequency can also be expressed in radians. As omega rad per second is equal to 2 into pi into F. So while F is the frequency in hertz, omega is the frequency in rad per second. One should not get confused. Now, for either 50 hertz or 60 hertz system, this is very, very important. One cycle is equal to 360 degrees, which is also equal to 2 pi radians. The second thing is that one cycle is also equal to 1 over 50 seconds or 1 over 60 seconds, which is equal to 20 milliseconds or 16.67 milliseconds. Third, half cycle or HC, it corresponds to 180 degrees or simply pi radians, and hence it is equal to 10 milliseconds or 8.335 milliseconds for 50 hertz and 60 hertz systems respectively. And we know that we have two types of half cycles. We have a positive half cycle and we have a negative half cycle. Okay, I'll put it another way. We have positive half cycle and we have negative half cycle. So the values of omega t for positive half cycle will be omega t greater than or equal to 0 radians. Okay, we'll put it in degrees first. Less than equal to 180 degrees, or we can say omega t greater than equal to 0 radians, less than equal to pi radians. Negative half cycle will always be greater than 180 degrees, less than equal to 360 degrees, or pi radians less than equal to 2 pi radians. Okay, then when we say quarter cycle or QC, it is equal to 1 cycle divided by 4. So 1 QC will be equal to 90 degrees or pi by 2 radians. Okay, so we have quarter cycle, we have half cycle, and we have full cycle. So we can say that one full cycle is a combination of two half cycles, that is a combination of positive half cycle and negative half cycle. It's a combination of 4 quarter cycles. Okay, yeah, so we should be very clear about all these things here. Okay, voltage values, peak, RMS and peak to peak. RMS is Vm by root 2, peak to peak is 2 times Vm. Okay, three phase system, we have phase voltage, line voltage. Line is root 3 times the phase voltage. Okay, so these are the phase voltages, line voltages. Phase relationship is 0 degrees, 120 degrees, 140 degrees. Mains and lines are synonyms, and it can be any one of the three phases RYB. The three phase system means it is all three together. To understand this thing, I am repeating this point. NSP, if you remember, NSP stands for natural switching point. Okay, NSP, repeating again, it is natural switching point. We had defined that before also. So natural switching point is defined for a semiconductor device which can be either forward biased FB or reverse biased RB. That means what? We cannot define NSP for devices like BJT and MOSFET because there is nothing called as forward biasing a BJT or reverse biasing a MOSFET. So I repeat, natural switching point is defined for a semiconductor device which can either be forward biased or reverse biased. That means NSP is not defined for BJTs and MOSFETs. Thus, natural switching point cannot be defined for devices such as power BJTs or power MOSFETs. And if you remember, these devices are called as control turn on, control turn off. But NSP is defined only for devices like SCRs, which are control turn on and uncontrolled turn off. NSP is defined only for control turn on uncontrolled turn off devices such as SCR. Okay, NSP cannot be defined for devices such as power BJT and power MOSFET, but NSP is defined only for control turn on uncontrolled turn off devices such as SCR. Okay, so now how to correctly define NSP. So now we define NSP. Natural switching point. This, remember it very carefully. I have very thoughtfully framed this definition. Natural switching point is that value of omega t at and beyond which SCR or diode becomes forward biased. Okay, so natural switching point is that value of omega t at and beyond which the SCR or diode becomes forward biased. Okay, so that is why the value of NSP will depend upon how the particular SCR or diode is connected with respect to the supply. So we can say that the value of natural switching point depends upon how the SCR or diode is connected with respect to the mains supply. Okay, so give an example. If this is my single phase supply and this is my diode, or it can also be an SCR, and if this is my load, then we know this is line, this is neutral, this is the supply, instantaneous value Vs. So for this diode D or SCRS, can you tell me what will be the natural switching point? Yes, in this circuit, what will be the natural switching point or value of omega t at and beyond which the SCR or diode will become forward biased in this circuit? Yes. What is the value of omega t at and beyond which D and S will become forward biased in this circuit? Yes.
0.
0. Correct. So I can write down that at omega t equal to 0, the positive half cycle starts. That means L is positive with respect to n, and when this happens, this will become plus and plus. So we can say in the above circuit, the NSP is omega t equal to 0 degrees or 0 radians. Okay. On the other hand, if I reverse the direction of the diode and SCR, and if I connect the diode like this, or if I connect the SCR like this, and everything else remains the same. So here this is anode, cathode, anode and cathode. Similarly, cathode of diode, anode of diode, anode of SCR, cathode of SCR. Supply voltage Vs, line, neutral. Now in this circuit again, what we see is that at omega t equal to 0, positive half cycle starts. L is positive with respect to neutral, but when this happens, what happens is plus minus. So cathodes get a plus and anodes get a minus. So during the positive half cycle, the devices will be reverse biased. Okay, so we can say at omega t equal to 0, positive half cycle starts. So diode and SCR are becoming reverse biased. So omega t equal to 0 cannot be called as a NSP in this circuit. But conversely, what happens is at omega t equal to pi radians, negative half cycle starts. L is negative with respect to n. So what happens is that negative half cycle has started, cathodes get negative, anode gets positive, so devices become forward biased. So we can say that here D, S become forward biased. Hence in the second circuit we can say the natural switching point for the devices as circuit are omega t equal to pi radians. Okay, so now having discussed about the concept of natural switching point, we have to define one more term called as legal half cycle and illegal half cycle. This we have not discussed before, but I'm introducing it here because this will lead us to another concept called as what is called as fully controlled and half controlled. So when I discuss about what is fully controlled and half controlled, that time I will again come back to this point about legal and illegal half cycles. So next and the last important point for converters is what is called as legal half cycle and illegal half cycle. Okay, so we can say let us call as LHC and ILHC, that is legal half cycle and illegal half cycle. Let us define it and let us find what are the values of legal and illegal half cycle in the circuits above. So what is legal half cycle? Yeah, so the half cycle HC during which the diode or SCR remains forward biased is called as LHC or legal half cycle. Conversely, we can tell the half cycle HC, during which diode or SCR remains reverse biased, is called as illegal half cycle or ILHC. So the half cycle during which the diode or SCR remains forward biased is called as legal half cycle, while the half cycle during which diode or SCR remains reverse biased is called as illegal half cycle. Okay, so here it is reverse biased, here it is forward biased. So based on these definitions, can you tell me that in the left circuit, which is LHC and which is ILHC? Yeah, for the left circuit, which is LHC? Yeah, which is a legal half cycle for the devices in the left circuit?
Positive.
Positive half cycle, correct. So during the positive half cycle, diode and SCR remaining forward bias, so we can write here that the legal half cycle is equal to positive half cycle here, and the illegal half cycle is equal to negative half cycle. Similarly here it is opposite case. During the positive half cycle, the devices are remaining reverse biased, so here my legal half cycle is negative half cycle and illegal half cycle is positive half cycle. Okay, we'll come back to LHC and ILHC when we start discussing about what do you mean by half controlled and fully controlled systems. Okay, yeah. So if you want to have a generic block diagram about a converter, we can draw it like this. If it is single phase, it is 230 volts RMS 50 hertz, and for a three-phase system we'll specify the line voltage, so 230 into root 3, 398. The three-phase system, it will be 230 into root 2, again comma 50 hertz, approximately 400, 398, so it is 400 volts 50 hertz. And understand that single phase system does not have any concept of line voltage, but when you come to three phase system and we write any voltage, we have to specify whether it is line voltage or a phase voltage. So understand one thing, when we specify the voltage value in a three phase system, usually it is a practice to specify the line voltages. Okay, naturally single phase has only phase voltage, so it is phase voltage. Obviously it doesn't have line. When we say about three phase system, then we say 400, we specify it as line voltage and it is 50 hertz, and this will be SCR based control turn on, uncontrolled turn off devices. And here we have what is called as firing circuit. Then between the firing circuit and the power circuit, we have the isolator, and here we have our load. Okay, so firing circuit, isolation. So because we can have multiple devices, we can have multiple firing pulses. Isolation also can be multiple, and here the output is load. We are going to have a polarity for load voltage. We have load current, and as we know, the load can be resistive load, it can be small inductive load, or it can be R, L, EB, also known as RLE load, or motor load, or highly inductive load. All three are possible. Okay, yeah. So usually the firing circuit which is employed here is usually a UJT triggering circuit, synchronized UJT triggering. The isolation here can either be a pulse transformer. You can have 1:1 or 1:1:1, or I can also use MCT2E single optocoupler, or MCT6, or I can also have PC817, any of them. So we have told the loads can be of three types, isolations used can be of two types, and firing circuit usually is synchronized UJT triggering. There are others also, but because it is not in the syllabus, I don't want to confuse the students. Okay, and understand one thing, that when I say VL here, please be very clear. When I say VL here, I actually mean VL AVG, or average content, and I am not interested in the VL RMS even if it is existing or non-zero. Okay, so I can make a very strong comment here. Since converters are AC to DC systems, we are interested only in the DC or average content at the output, and not in the AC or RMS content at the output. We denote the load voltage and load current as VLDC or VL AVG and ILDC or IL AVG. Some changes here. Load voltage, load current, load power as PLDC or PLAVG. Okay, it doesn't matter, you can even use lowercase also, not an issue. Okay, that is why I make a point here that even if we have a non-zero RMS content at the output, we do not show any interest. Okay, that is why we never define VLRMS or ILRMS or PLRMS as the outputs of a converter. So we can say, hence we never refer to VLRMS, ILRMS or PLRMS as the outputs of converter. Why I said this? That is why if we are clear about this point, only then we will automatically, naturally and spontaneously connect a DC voltmeter in order to measure the output voltage when we come to know that I am performing an experiment on a converter. So as soon as we come to know that the kit in front of me is a converter and I say you have to measure the load voltage, student immediately understands that I am supposed to configure my DMM as a DC voltmeter, the ammeter as a DC ammeter, if this point is very clear. Okay, these are very important basics. Okay, now another important concept of what is called as a natural or line commutation. So we know in the field of power electronics, commutation means the process of turning off a power device. Okay, so we know that commutation means it is a process of turning off or switching off a power device. So there are two ways in which you can commutate a power device. So commutation is classified as first natural commutation and second is forced commutation. Okay, so natural commutation and forced commutation. What do you mean by natural commutation? Natural commutation means if power device commutates due to the nature of input supply, it is called as natural commutation. On the other hand, if power device cannot commutate due to nature of input supply but needs an auxiliary circuit to commutate, it is called as force commutation. Okay, so the definitions are like this, that natural commutation means if power device commutates or switches off due to nature of input supply, it is called natural commutation. On the other hand, if the power device needs an auxiliary circuit to commutate, it is called as force commutation. So in converters, natural commutation occurs, and in DC systems, force commutation occurs, right? So natural commutation is found in systems which have AC input. Okay, and force commutation is found in systems which have DC input. Found in systems which have DC input. Understand one thing, that force commutation is required only for SCRs. Okay, so natural commutation is found in systems which have AC inputs and they use SCRs, and force commutation is found in systems which have DC input and use SCRs. Okay, another important point is that if we use power BJTs or power MOSFETs, in place of SCRs, the control the firing pulse applied to the base or gate terminals are responsible for both turn on and turn off of the devices. Okay, So if you are using SCRs only, then this concept of natural commutation and forced commutation comes. Otherwise it doesn't come. And in a system like this, where is the an SCR? Line, neutral. Okay, so here I am having a firing angle alpha. So in this system, as soon as negative half cycle starts at omega t equal to pi radians, SCR becomes reverse biased. You know that SCR is a unidirectional device and it can conduct, if at all, only if it is forward biased. So in this system, you understand this thing, that in this particular circuit at omega t equal to pi radians, negative half cycle starts, line is negative with respect to neutral, SCR is equal to reverse bias, hence automatically commutates. Okay, so here I do not need any additional arrangement or circuit to commutate the SCR, but as soon as the main supply reverses its polarity at the beginning of negative half cycle, that is at omega t equal to pi radians, SCR commutates. That is why we say here that in the above circuit, SCR commutates due to the nature of input supply, hence the above circuit has natural commutation or line commutation, has natural or line commutation. Okay, now understand students, if I replace the AC supply with a DC supply, I still have the SCR and I have the load connected like this. I apply a firing pulse of the appropriate duration and of appropriate amplitude. Okay, in a DC circuit I cannot have anything called as alpha, because the firing angle alpha is reference to the beginning of positive or negative half cycles. So understand students that in AC circuit you can define alpha, in DC circuit you cannot define alpha. Why? Because alpha is reference to omega t equal to 0 or pi. That is why it is not applicable here. So understand that in this circuit, if I apply a firing pulse of appropriate amplitude and duration such that the device current IA exceeds latching current value, SCR gets latched and current starts flowing in this circuit, there is no way that I can commutate the SCR. Why? Because here, if my input is 200 volt DC, it is going to remain 200 volts DC plus 200 volts from 0 to infinity. So in this circuit, computation of SCR is not possible from the input side, because input will remain constant at 200 volts. So I can make a comment here that in this circuit, SCR cannot be reverse biased from the input supply side, because input remains equal to 200 volts from t equal to 0 to infinity. Okay, so natural commutation is not possible in this circuit. So what I need to do is that I have to make an arrangement such that if this is anode, this is cathode, if somehow I can have a negative potential at the anode with respect to the cathode, or else another way is that I can reduce the device current IA below the critical value holding current, then I can commute the SCR. So that is why SCR has to be forcefully commutated in the above circuit, either by anode negative with respect to cathode, or else having the anode current fall below holding current value. This is called as force commutation. Okay, so we can say the above concept is called forced commutation. Okay, yeah.